Walt Disney Parks and Resorts have announced a new themed experience around the Haunted Mansion. But guess what? You're not going to be able to fully enjoy it until you're 21 years or older. Let's talk about that here on That Park Place. Hello and welcome to That Park Place, where we cover all the news that should be fun. Today I have with me the one, the only Mr. Culture Casino. Culture, are you doing well today?
I'm doing fantastic, Jonas. Thanks for having me. This is going to be a fun issue.
Yeah. Do you need something refreshing? Perhaps a nice sip of water.
I have coffee, but thank you.
Oh, that's excellent. I've finished my coffee already this morning. Although I think I might need a little bit more. So. To go to the video in question, here is Scott Guston, who is an excellent resource for Disney announcements. Here's a virtual tour of the Haunted Mansion parlor coming to the Disney Treasure. The Disney Treasure being one of their cruise lines here. And it looks like if you read the fine print there at the bottom, it says that guests must be 21 and older to consume alcohol. So it looks like we're getting another bar themed to a Disney IP.
Wow.
That's a recent trend here with the Walt Disney Company, and for anybody who has any question here are the hitchhiking ghosts who also appeared in the Haunted Mansion film, which I do believe is marketed to kids, and they're standing there in front of a nice shelf of alcohol here. I'm not much of an alcohol drinker myself, but they do make all those bottles look pretty cool there, don't they?
Yeah, I think that looks absolutely magical.
What in the what? I don't mean to be a prude, but what in the world is going on here? That the Walt Disney Company, which we've often said that they started out as specifically a children's entertainment company, and then when they started doing the theme parks, they became a family entertainment company, and now this does not look like this is family entertainment.
Well, for a certain age range of family members, sure, but I don't know. This I think goes back a very long way into Disney's history. Walt never wanted alcohol in the parks when they opened. Trying to keep it an experience that families could enjoy together. That was his words, not mine. I'm paraphrasing a little, but that was his plan. And Disneyland proper and the castle parks proper outside of the US, it's a little different, but here in the US, you weren't going to find alcohol. The only place you could get it was if you were a member of a very private club called Club 33 in California in Disneyland. Outside of that, the parks were maintained as family experiences because alcohol tends to create enough inhibition.
Yeah, it changes the experience a little bit for everyone there. And as we can see, there are obviously the number of incidents that we're seeing. Let's say we're seeing videos of lots of incidents going on in the parks.
Mhm.
Now, I can't verify whether or not those are alcohol related
Oh.
or not. And the Disney company has never shied away in animation from having alcohol in their movies. Well, recently they've shied away from it a little bit more. Ratatouille being one of the more recent examples here. We've
Right.
got Ratatouille, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which is in the France Pavilion at Epcot. We see they've got this looks like wine bottles. It could be anything. It literally could
Oh,
be anything. But
champagne.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it literally could be anything. But then you have incidences like the Indiana Jones in the Dial of Destiny cocktails that were being served at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
This wasn't part of an after hours event or anything like that. And I do think they are selling Indiana Jones toys within the park. So things that are definitely, and not like they're selling some costume item and they're giving you the excuse that it's a kid's item when you buy it. We're talking about like a ribbon dancer that is
Mhm.
sold as a Indiana Jones whip to where only a small child would be amused by that. And then 30 feet over at the Den of Destiny, they've got cocktails themed to your favorite childhood hero. That's a fascinating development to me.
Well, and again, the restriction was very much limited to the castle parks.
Mhm.
As the other theme parks rolled in, and especially the ones in foreign lands, you started to see alcohol being available because, especially in the biggest park of them all in Florida, in Epcot, 1982 was miles away from 1955, and the experience there was to introduce everybody to a world of different culture, in the world, which included their food and beverages.
Right.
But in the castle parks themselves, and in things that were oriented around and marketed specifically to children, you didn't see alcohol in the parks, the castle parks, until 2019.
All right, and just so everybody knows what Culture Casino here is talking about, right now they have the Be Our Guest restaurant, which is themed around 1991's Beauty and the Beast, which is fully an animated film. It is definitely something they market to kids,
Mhm.
and they serve alcohol in the restaurant. Now, I'm not saying if you have wine at the restaurant, therefore it's bad or anything like that, but they're
Oh,
definitely putting in, and there are lines in the movie, I do believe, about wine,
yes. Yep.
probably in the song "Be Our Guest." But there's definitely more of a turn here. Now, what I'd like to do is talk about a different aspect of the Walt Disney Company marketing alcohol, because they've run into this problem in the past. And I'd like to bring out this article from 2007 from Decanter.com, published by the Decanter staff. Disney pulls a Ratatouille wine. Here we have a picture of Remy from Ratatouille on Chardonnay Bourgogne. I forgive me if I butcher that name. Clearly labeled here, Disney Pixar. It's a little hard to make out, actually. I shouldn't say clearly labeled. And Ratatouille, the name of the picture here. The Disney Corporation has pulled out of the wine business before its wine had hit the shelves. Disney has canceled its Ratatouille wine, a tie-in with the much lauded Pixar animation of the same name about a haute cuisine loving rat, which was to be sold in Costco stores from August. A trickle of inquiries and complaints made the corporation decide not to go ahead with the promotion, Disney spokesman Gary Foster said. Foster told the Los Angeles Times that the California Wine Institute had pressured Disney to pull the wine. The fact is that the French wine upset domestic vintners, sorry, he said. The movie is based off of French cuisine, so there's obviously it's a creative tie-in. I'm not gonna fault them for the creativity here, but they point out here that the advertising code, the highlight's not doing us any favors there, the advertising code bans advertising that might appeal to children by the use of cartoon characters or very young models. I'm just going to bring you back to this. These look like cartoon characters to me, and I would say that the Haunted Mansion, while it is a haunted attraction meant to, I don't think that the Haunted Mansion is for adults. Okay, there is some aspect of the spookiness that is a little bit more mature than, say, I don't know, a Disney Junior show. But these look like cartoon characters to me. Now, I will also point out that you can, if you go to collector sites, those Ratatouille Chardonnay bottles did make it out somehow. I believe
Yeah.
they went to Pixar employees. An extra bit of trivia, they also ended up putting the label on the Keyblade in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of trivia for our interested fans there. But this seems to be an ongoing issue at the Walt Disney Company as they struggle with their identity, as they are losing family audience. Maybe this is a market shift for them to appeal to those much vaunted Disney adults. Culture, do you have any thoughts on that?
I would say that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, I keep suggesting here on this channel and many others, including my own, that Disney has abandoned their family image quite some time ago now. They've walked well away from it, and it wouldn't surprise me if a casino actually appeared on a Disney cruise ship in the near future, which was also something that was verboten.
Well,
But
as you can see, the ESPN has just pivoted. Now they're licensing out the ESPN name, so they're not doing it themselves, but they have taken large sums of money from a corporation so that their name can be used in gambling. ESPN, it is a Disney brand. Maybe they don't have it on Disney Plus, but it is a Disney brand, and they're using it for sports booking, which is confounding to me.
Well, and again, what adds to that problem, and I'll say it this way: what adds to that problem is the fact that they shied away from combining brands for a very long time. It was one of the reasons why Eisner wanted all the nameplates of the studios to be somewhat divided. Yes, if you were an investor, you knew that Touchstone was part of Disney, but outside of that, most people didn't associate with that. They didn't realize that Disney made Pretty Woman. They didn't, you know what I mean? So
Right. The news stories had to point out that
yeah,
Miramax, which was obviously run by that guy who started the whole problem,
yes,
or publicly started the problem. We're not even going to say his name.
the
Uh,
hashtag movement. Yes,
yes. So I think they're probably very grateful to not have Miramax associated with the rest of their Walt Disney Company
yeah,
brands. Now, Touchstone Pictures, that's one that they could still salvage and use.
yeah,
But over here, thinking about, I guess my question is what is next? And they have these themed events at the parks that are
yes.
after hours events where presumably there are less kids there, and they're selling a lot. They're selling alcohol every 30 feet or something like that, and I'm understanding things are getting pretty raucous at those in the evenings. I haven't been to them myself. They are, financially speaking, one of the more successful aspects of the theme park right now, because they're essentially getting to pay to get people to pay for admission twice. And I'm also fairly certain that pass holders have to pay in order to do those events. So those big Disney fans that are going all the time are going in the evening, and things are getting a little crazy. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So
Well, this problem has been I'm going to say that metastasizing for a while within Disney. Is they've really gone towards the adults because of the profitability in them. And you know, when they opened Be Our Guest restaurant back in 2012, just prior to 2013, and they included wine on the menu, that was a distinct change in Florida. You know, but it wasn't really as far as Disney parks go, because Epcot, with all of its festivals and the fact that, you know, when I was, you know, had my ear to the ground with certain people back all the way back in 2012 to 2015, they were realizing just how much money was in food and alcohol sales around their festivals at Epcot. They were seeing, you know, 25 to 35% increases year over year for these festival promotions in food and beverage revenue. So it became, because of the exorbitant prices. So they've been on, that's been ongoing. And then look at, because of the expansion of those events being now basically year round, you go from one event to another based around food and alcohol. Think of all the interactions that are negative now in Epcot when you're walking around World Showcase, and even the park in general. You know, it's been a real problem. And you know, it points to something that used to be able to draw a stark line between Disney and other theme parks or amusement parks, which you can't anymore.
the fascinating thing about Epcot, of course, and drinking around the world is, I think that has to be an unofficial term.
Right.
But
Well, there's T-shirts out there. There are. I think Disney. I would have to confirm this, but I think Disney's even had a shirt that has kind of mentioned, you know, eating your way around the world in service of the drinking your way around the world.
uh,
Um, but I just again, it's one of those things that baffles me. If you're trying to be a family company, be a family company. But they've abandoned a family long ago.
right, and the irony of Epcot being the most adult-themed park, of all the Disney parks is it's also the theme park that schools have the biggest excuse for a field trip to go to, so
Mhm.
you get a lot more kid visits to, Epcot, than you do almost any of the other parks, which are more entertaining. I suppose Animal Kingdom, there might be an excuse there with the conservation image, but it's very easy to say, "Oh, Epcot is about the future, it's about history, therefore we can check that box." Now, gone are the days that you can get into Epcot for about $50 for a
Well,
bunch of kids, and it's not that big of a deal.
Well, and they've abandoned infotainment, right? They've
Yeah.
gone and at the same time they've inserted kids IPs in Epcot like crazy. They, instead of having their own individually, you know, cultivated IPs within that park, they've substantially shifted. But again, that was always, you always had alcohol there, but it wasn't marketed
It wasn't at the kiosks around the park. You had to
Yeah.
go into a restaurant and sit down. And there's a difference between strolling around and sitting down for a meal, which, by the way, the meal necessitates that you are also eating food at the same time, not to get into the specifics of this here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Culture, for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, they can find me on my channel, and they can find me here on That Park Place. My channel is Culture Casino, and That Park Place is, well, where you are now.
Yep. Culture is one of my absolute favorite contributors here. The information density in his segments, I am so impressed that he is able to get through the topics that he gets through in the time that he does, and also find time to throw in a couple jokes here and there. I absolutely love it. So thank you, everybody, for being here for this quick discussion video here on That Park Place. You can follow us at the handles above, or you can follow Culture Casino. Is it at Culture Casino on Twitter?
Yep. Yeah. I made it very simple. At Culture Casino everywhere. Very
Awesome. Well, like this video. If you like this video, subscribe. If you are legally obligated to subscribe to this channel if you've watched more than 3 videos and are considering watching a 4th. That's a fact. And of course, stay tuned to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com for all the news that should be fun. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.